And welcome back to Daily Wrap. 2016 presidential candidate Mike Huckabee not backing down from comments he made on Breitbart.
This president's foreign policy is the most feckless in American history. He's so naive, he would trust the Iranians and he would take the Israelis and basically march them to the door of the oven. This is the most hideous thing. This Iran deal should be rejected by both Democrats and Republicans in Congress and by the American people.
Now, Mr. Obama called the comments sad, but the former Arkansas governor is sticking to his guns. Here's the governor with Geraldo yesterday on Fox's The Five.
You have offended many people in the Jewish community, not only the organized Jewish community, but the rank and file. It is inappropriate to compare the Holocaust to anything, and if you start using that as a sloppy rhetorical phrase, you're going to get in trouble.
Why do we have the Holocaust Museum in Washington? Why do we have Yad Vashem in Jerusalem that I visited dozens and dozens of times?
But
why do we have it?
Because they are sacred.
Why do we have it?
They are not to be
No. Answer my question, though, Geraldo. Why do we have it? To remember.
Why do we want to remember? To never forget.
Why? So that we never repeat it again. If we're on the verge of repeating it again with a nation that is threatening to do that very thing, how do we not bring up that language?
Wow, they used to share shows on the Saturday night schedule on Fox, just saying. Anyway, meanwhile, Israeli ambassador to the U.S., that's Ron Dermer, told Capital Download that although he doesn't agree with the Iran deal, he doesn't doubt, and we quote, the sincerity of the president or his team when they say they believe this deal not only makes America safe, but makes Israel safe. While we disagree is the judgment of actually what this deal is going to do, Huckabee's words are not words that I would use or that I think are appropriate. All right, Brad, Huckabee is sticking by his comments. Should he?
He should clarify things and move on. Let's be clear that Ron Dermer and other Israeli politicians who have spoken out on this do not object to the Holocaust analogy. What they're objecting to is the portrayal of contemporary Israelis as powerless the way Jews were in Europe before World War II. Their distress is not the analogy to the Holocaust, but the notion that the modern state of Israel cannot defend its own borders by itself. In fact, some ministers wrote on Facebook that that is why the state was created, and that's a reasonable proposition. As to the claim that what he should clarify, let me go back, is suggesting that the President of the United States is marching Jews to the door of the oven should be clearly false, and it's grotesque, and he has to step back from that. And by the way, the campaign has. They now use the language, the deal will march Israelis to the oven door. I don't know that he needs to pull back from that, because what he's raising, as he said in the Geraldo bit, is the specter of a potentially genocidal enemy. And given that millions of Iranians took to the streets to burn Israeli flags and American flags and shout death to Israel and death to America as the deal was being inked, I get it. It's upsetting. And if what people are having to deal with is, wow, Huckabee is making me realize the full possible dimensions of this deal. I'm not saying it will happen, but I think anyone who supports this deal should go in with eyes wide open.
Not just death to America, but also you have the Supreme Leader tweeting out a photo of President Obama putting a gun to his head like he's about to commit suicide. Right. This is the sort of thing when we look at this, we say, boy, this is not being done in good faith. Not that we expect to. I get there's a political aspect to this, and he has to keep his so-called base happy over there. I'd love to meet those folks sometime. But still, I mean, can't the president at least say, you know, or somebody, John Kerry, that's very inappropriate. You don't put out pictures like that of our president.
Yeah, I think that they have given up on trying to tell them not to act this way. They think that it's the same thing as any other terrorist activities that they take place. This is just about the nuclear deal in their mind, and it's not about any of the other things. My concern is, I think your points are very well taken. That the overall theme of Huckabee's statements were appropriate and true. The way that it was said is probably inappropriate. But to be talking now about Huckabee as opposed to the deal, it's yet another distraction. And I think that it gives Huckabee his day in the spotlight and maybe takes a little bit away from Donald Trump, but it takes us away from discussing the deal and what's going to happen with Congress.
Do you think this was a comparison to Nazi Germany, or comparing the president to Adolf Hitler or to Neville Chamberlain?
I have no idea what it was. It was nothing but a ridiculous statement that he thought would get him attention. intention as far as I'm concerned. Look, as I said last night, you know what? You'll think what you think, I think what I think. Nothing I'm going to say is going to change somebody's point of view on how they feel about the comment. But I will once again remind you that it was Mike Huckabee that when he was running for president in 2008 proposed precisely what President Obama did. And not only that, he actually brought Obama to his side, because Obama was originally against sanctions for, for other countries getting involved. Huckabee was the one who was saying, you need to get Russia, you need to get China, you need to get Europe, you need to get them in on the sanctions. Obama at that time was going, no, we really don't. Well, Obama saw it Huckabee's way. And for him to turn around now and take this point of view,
does it benefit him or hurt him? Quickly?
He's a fraud. It hurts him.
Okay. Hurt him,
I think it may hurt him, but we should be very quick and very clear. He supported this process, and that's not the same as not supporting this deal. He's not a hypocrite. He may be
Heather, you
wrong,
don't get to give an opinion here. Okay, what do you think about Mr. Huckabee's comments? Go to newsmax.com/comments and let us know. Coming up, more trouble for Hillary Clinton. This is the Daily Wrap.